I feel a little better. Did you ever look at your vagina or ever see one?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
So you've never seen your vagina?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I've had children.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you imagine it looks like?
Well, I guess I've seen it in the doctor's office when I'm in the stirrups, if there's a mirror. I mean, I'm sure I must have seen it in passing over the years.
Well, I happened to look down, and there was this very ugly thing staring back at me, and I... Oh, my God.
And do you have good sex today?
Yes. You said good. You didn't ask how often.
Is there something specific it's longed for?
Well, right about now, probably sex. Because it's been a long time. It's probably down there just wishing.
Just wishing.
Just wishing. Won't you get some sense, woman, and give me some help down here?
It still aches a little bit because I still like to play house. I'm old, not dead.
No, I'm not holding this. It's amazing how many people complain that there are not enough monologues about heterosexual, vagina-loving men.
We have 10 minutes, Miss Ensler.
There is a vagina-loving man. Come in, Steve. This is the guy, right here, right here. Tell me, what have you learned about vaginas the last few days?
Oh, my, I've probably learned more in the last 3 days than my entire 24 years.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Specific?
I thought I knew something and I knew nothing. That's what it comes down to.
This next monologue is based on an interview I did with a woman who had a good experience with a man. Because he liked to look at it. This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know how it should have happened. In a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea. Enya playing. Me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite. I know all of it. Like if we'd grown up in a culture where we were taught fat thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and donuts, spending our days lying on our backs, thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture, did we? No. I hated my thighs, and I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it, and from that moment on, I wished I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture. Cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders. I got so accustomed to this, I lost all memory of having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I ever met. Thin, tall, nondescript, he wore khaki tan clothes. Bob did not like spicy foods or listen to Prodigy. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He did not share his inner feelings. He didn't have any problems or issues. He wasn't even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny or articulate or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my pennies and quarters, and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. It turned out that Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they tasted, the way they smelled, the way they felt, but most importantly, Bob loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. First time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. I'm right here, Bob. No, he said, you. I need to see you. Turn on the light, I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light. Okay, he said, I'm ready. I'm ready to see you. I'm right here, Bob. Right here. He began to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I need to see what you look like. But you've seen a red leather couch before, Bob. I know you've seen that, Bob continued. He would not stop. I wanted to throw up and die. This is awfully intimate, Bob. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I need to look. I held my breath. He looked and looked. He gasped and smiled and stared and groaned. He got breathy and his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry beast. You're so beautiful, he said. You're elegant and deep and innocent and wild. You saw that there, I said? It was like you read my palm. I saw that, he said, and much, much more. Bob stayed looking for almost an hour, as if he were studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes. But it was my vagina. In the light, I watched him looking at me. He was so excited, so peaceful and euphoric. I began to get wet and turned on. I began to see myself the way he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. No, he wasn't grossed out. I began to swell. I began to feel proud. I began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him in my vagina. And